Okay, so that is what we can do. Okay, let's do another little thing. Let's look at arrays really quick. So I'm going to say nano my array.py, array.py. Okay, so let's say, how would I create an array? Well, you could see that I could create an array like x is equal to, and you kind of put the parentheses around it, and then you put the array itself inside the brackets. And so this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we saw that we can do something like this. All right, and then we can print x like that. Control X, yes, enter, and then we are going to Python 3 this. Python 3, and boom, we get our array. Okay, but now this is the problem. How would you input those numbers in an array? All right, so you would kind of like think in terms of like, this is intuitively what I would do. Okay, like intuitively, this is what I would do. I would do something like nums is equal to input of how many numbers do you want, space. Okay, now what's wrong with that? Can you tell me what's wrong with that? Yeah, I'm not thinking about data types. So what I got to do is make sure that I'm going to put it as an int. Why? Because the number of numbers that you have would be a round number. Okay, then I would think of like for I in range, okay, and in the range from 1 to nums, and then I would have to go +1, right? I would have to go +1 so that it went to nums. But I want to show you a trick. If I just start the index counting at 0, then it's going to stop at nums -1. But if I start at 0, then how many times is it going to go through the loop? Nums. Think about it. That's why I think they did it this way, but it is a little bit too crazy for me. And then comma 1, all right, and then the colon to start the clause, and then tab over, and then I would probably do something like my intuition would be to, like, let's just create an array. My grades array is equal to a blank array. Okay, and then my intuition would be to, like, say okay, singular grade, my singular grade is going to be equal to, and then I'm going to say an int of a input of please input your grade, like that. Okay, so now I'm going to ask him how many grades, and I'm going to go get the grades, and then I've got the grade, okay, but what I'm going to do is, instead of doing that, I'm going to put it in grades, and I'm going to put it in grades of I. So the first time through, it'll put it in the 0 position, the second position, the third position, and so forth. All right. And then what I could do here is, outside of the for clause, I could just print that whole array of grades like that. Okay. So tell me, do you guys kind of know what's going to happen here? Control X, yes. And then I am going to Python 3 my array.py. Like that. Okay, now it doesn't like line 5 print grades. Now I'm not sure, that was not the error that I was expecting. Okay, how come it didn't even ask me here? Because it didn't like grades. That is a most peculiar problem. Let me just take that out and see. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but let's look at this. Python 3 my array. line 6. Okay. Oh, I see what the problem was. I didn't close that. I've got to close it for the input, and I got to close it, and that's why it didn't like print grades. You see, it didn't have anything to do with print grades. It had to do with the missing parentheses there. So Control X, yes. You old pros probably saw that one. Okay, how many numbers do you want? I want 5 numbers. All right. And then please input your grade 1. And it crashes. Okay. And what does it crash with? It says list assignment index out of range. And this is kind of like another one of the annoying things about Python. All right. And this is what the problem is. Right. The problem is I created the array grades, but I created it empty. And then I thought, okay, I'll just stuff stuff in there, that I'll put something in the 0 position, in the 1 position, in the 2 position. But since I created it empty, it's sitting there empty, and it doesn't want to get bigger. And so you can't do this. Like in most programming languages, at least in my mind, you would do it this way, but you can't do it that way. What you have to do is you have to, like now let me just say, I'm just going to input grades because that'll be straightforward. I'll just input the grade. Okay. And then what I have to do is I have to say grades dot append. And what do I want to append? I want to append grade. Right. So you see, I have to append the singular number grade into the array grades. And so grade starts empty, and then I append into it the first grade, and I append into it the second grade. So the only way really that you can stuff numbers into an array is to append them like this. And so I'm going to append the grade that I just read into grades. Okay, Control X, yes. And now let's go. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, I have 3 grades. Okay, 99, 98, and 100. Boom, my array appended 99, 98, and 100. So I think that is pretty cool. And you can see now if you've got to input numbers into an array, you do it with an append and you don't index it. But now what I will show you is, I will show you now that it is done that way, we can index it. And so what I could do here is I could now say for I in range, starting at 0 and then going to nums, all right, and then in steps of 1. And then what I could do is I could print, and then now I would print grades, the array of I. You see, I can index that array once it's there. I can index the array once it's there. We will here go back to our old, that's all, folks, like that. All right, and now up here, outside of that first for loop, I'm going to put here print your grades are, like that, and then it should print them as a list. Okay, so I'm trying to show you can index an array once you've built it, but to build it, you can't build it with indexing, you got to build it with appending. So let's control X, yes, and then let's run that thing. Okay. Whoa, I didn't get my closing quote on there. Hopefully you guys saw that. Right there, like that. Control X, yes. Python 3. Still not happy. Denied. I'm going back to Python 2.7 is what I did. Your print in Python 3 wants the parentheses, and I did years and years of Python 2.7, and therefore I forget to do my prints right still. Control X, yes. I hope it runs this time. How many numbers do you want? 3. And I'm going to say 99, 100, and 98. Okay, your grades are 99, 198. That's all, folks. Okay, guys, I hope you're kind of seeing how this works. I think that this is pretty darn neat. Let me just do one more. Let me do one more with a while loop. Like, let me do this one with a while loop, and then we'll kind of wrap up this lesson. If you guys like this, give me input. We can do more lessons like this if you're finding them useful. Because again, we want you to understand, and we want you to be developing things on your own, not just copying and pasting other people's codes. Or if you're looking at other tutorials, at least you're understanding what they're teaching, because you understand the fundamentals of Linux and the fundamentals of Python. It's about understanding, not about copying and pasting. But let's see if we can do this with a while loop. So I'm going to say nano while loop dot pi, like this. Okay, and so I'm going to say j is equal to 1. All right, and then I'm going to say while j is less than or equal to 10, like that. And then what I'm going to say is print j. And I almost made that mistake again, print j. Okay, and then I'm going to say j equal j plus 1. All right, and then I am going to say print that. Notice how I keep making the same mistakes. That's all, folks. What is it they say? Wisdom is recognizing a mistake when you make it again. Yeah, if you remake the same mistake and you recognize it, you're getting wise. All right, so Control X, yes. And now let's Python 3 that. Okay, so it went 1 through 10 and said that's all, folks. So I know a lot of people, what some people do is to get around that A range problem and that range problem, you can do things with a while loop. Just set your index with j equal 1, and then while j is less than or equal to 10, it will go all the way up to 10, and then it will stop, and then inside the loop make j is equal to j plus 1. And I know a lot of people that just deal with it like that. And so while loops are really very, very powerful. And also while loops are good if you're like taking data, because you don't know how many data points, or you don't know how long you want to be in that while loop or how quickly the data is coming. So while loops can be configured a little bit more generically than what for loops can. So I know a lot of people that just do while loops. Where the for loops are very interested is like if you're in OpenCV and you get this complex data set back of contours, where contours is a list of arrays, and so it's an array of arrays, you can step through those data things with for loops very, very easily. And so that's really, you're going to see a lot of for loops when we get into OpenCV. So that is pretty good. I'm going to give you a homework assignment. Your homework assignment is to average grades. Ask the person, how many grades does he have or she have? How many grades do they have? And then you're to input that number of grades, and then you're to average them, and then you're to print out all the grades, and then you're to print out the average, and you're to have the whole thing in a while loop that after it does that, then it asks for the next set of grades, and you're to verify that it works the second time and the third time. Okay, that is your homework assignment. I hope you guys are having as much fun with this as I am. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Give us feedback if you would like to see more videos like this, and whether we should be trying to do more in this series. We would be happy to do it if there is some interest. So I am Paul McWhorter, and I am from TopTechBoy.com, and I will talk to you guys later.